welcome back to
the Zak
and Buzz
Review!
So, we went to cinema and watched The
Caca!
Crow.
Draven sends his regards.
Caca, the Crow.
Yes,
That's right.
The Crow.
The Crow, the new Crow.
The new Crow, not to be confused with the old
The
Crow.
1994 Crow.
Which I've now gone back to see if I like that in comparison to the new Crow.
Whereas I was there in 1994 when it came to the cinemas.
Yes.
So, let's discuss.
So, The Crow, the new Crow, I actually quite enjoyed it, and I know that's quite a controversial view.
Is it?
Well, that's the thing. I've heard lots of things on Facebook, everyone trashing The Crow for some reason.
I don't get that really myself.
I know.
You see, I was there, and I think what it is, the original Crow, do you know, it's an okay movie.
Yes.
It never rocked to my socks at the time. I saw it at the big screen. There was obviously the tragedy of Brandon Lee being accidentally shot on set and passing away. So it was his last movie,
unfortunately.
And so that kind of left a little bit of mystique because, you know, conspiracy theories and everything. So
yeah,
it's become one of those movies that's kind of would you call it a cult classic?
To be honest, I'd say it's got a cult following of its own.
It's got a cult following.
Yeah.
However, you know, after watching it again with you, I quite like the miniatures in it. And it's filmed with a kind of a, you know,
it's very stylized in nature.
Can't rain all the time.
As opposed to the new one, which is kind of more gritty and realistic almost.
Yeah. I think
comparatively, you could equate it to like Tim Burton's Batman to the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, I'd go. Does
that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. You see, the thing is, you know, if you were a lover of the original Crow, and I think that's what, when you get the negative stuff on the internet, it's because obviously it's like set in your ways. It's like saying, okay, I love Highlander, for example, and if they do end up doing the remake of Highlander, am I going to go, oh, that was awful? You know, or not, you know, because it's not the original Highlander. You can like both, surely. And this is it's a very basic storyline when you think about it. It's just about kind of Satanism and somebody using satanic stuff to stay immortal, and then
which is very interesting comparative.
And it's a love story as well, isn't it?
Yeah, to the original, I feel as if they kind of toned the themes down a bit and made it a bit more like the supernatural side in the new one, as opposed to the original, where it was very much left ambiguous.
Yeah, it was more sort of,
the supernatural stuff was ambiguous to what was going on.
It was more sort of ganglang war, you know, just
gang stuff,
hoodlums and stuff.
Exactly.
You know, basically, chap in love with girl in love with chap.
They get attacked.
They get killed.
Yeah.
The chap is so in love with the other half that he obviously meets in this kind of sort of limbo place, and is given the chance to come back and wreak revenge, and that's what happens basically. And so I didn't think Bill Skarsgard did a bad job. The thing is, we saw him in The Boy Kills World. Yeah, and that was an interesting movie.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, we did a review on that. If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
Arcade John Wick.
This one, his character was very, very human. Even though, like that kind of guy in the limbo world said, you were given the powers of a god and you wasted them. Yeah. And it gives him a second chance. And it's almost when it gives him the second chance and he comes out of the bath in that bath scene, it kind of, his veins are popping on his arms. It almost looks like he's kind of a bit more jacked, you know, for that.
Yeah.
But he is very human in his character. And even so, he's not suddenly turned into kind of John Wick fighter.
No. He's very much just a dude.
He's a dude who is
can take the hits.
Who is able to kill everybody because he can take the hits.
Yeah.
And it was interesting that he was using a wakazaki, wasn't it?
Wakazashi.
Rather than a katana. You know, it's the short sword.
Well, I mean, in the original, he had more of like a guitar, and it was very much like, I'll use anything.
Yeah, it was very rock starry. You know?
Yeah, they didn't have the rock star stuff in the new one, did they?
No.
They went for pianos for some reason.
Yeah,
they didn't really play much into the story other than like for the musical numbers type of deal.
That was where, for me, it was a bit of a letdown in certain areas, because watching it, I felt that some of the music didn't really go well with the scenes. For me.
I really liked the use of like blood and gore in this. which was very surprising because by the trailers I thought it was just going to be, you're not really going to see much of the detail, whereas at one point a guy's got a sword like half cutting his head off. That was cool.
Well, when we say cool, okay, get this right. We like the special effects,
yes,
and we like the way that physical effects are done in the movies. Not cool in like we are bloodthirsty hoodlums and like that. We appreciate the movie making,
the artistry,
and how the special effects are done. So that, and we both audibly let out a kind of a yes kind of laugh, didn't we? It's like,
that was awesome.
And it's really annoying me because I've forgotten the actress's name, but the actress who plays the lead lady's mother, who was in Blake 7.
Oh yes.
And
I know what you're talking about.
And she never gets older. She looks so gorgeous, and this looks like the same age she was when she was filming Blake 7 back in the late 70s.
A few years after, I would say.
Yeah, but she looks great. Absolutely
pretty much the
amazing.
same.
If anybody in this movie has been like, doing a deal with the devil, it's she has to stay young because she looks so good. But but there was that moment when the bad guys walking down the street and you could see they've left the background open. I think any minute now. And it happened, and again, it was another moment for me to go. I could just exclaim, knew that was going to come.
It was a bit predictable.
It was predictable, but it was kind of fun predictable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, overall, I enjoyed the movie, but it still didn't knock my socks off.
It's very interesting because comparatively to the original, because I've seen that now, I would say they're kind of level pegging for enjoyment wise. The first one is very much more stylised and kind of grungy, whereas the new one's kind of more realistic. I kind of like both of them equally for different reasons.
I like that. I like the feeling that gave.
Department of Housing.
To improve the new one, I would say that the villain wasn't great. His motivation wasn't particularly well explored, or because he kept referring to like the man or something, as in the devil, but you never really got beyond that.
Yeah, he didn't get beyond, for me, the villain he played in Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I felt I was kind of almost seeing the same villain.
Well, I mean, he looked exactly the
I
same.
know it's the same guy, but actors can play vastly different characters. You get Gary Oldman, and he can be absolute nutcase in something like Leon, and then he can be something completely different in another movie, like playing Sirius Black in. What was it? I've got to say, it's Josette Simon.
There you go.
Josette Simon, bless you. You look great. Don't know what you're doing, but you're doing it well. Maybe you're in league with Tom Cruise. Who knows?
Okay, so how would you rate this out of 10?
For me, I'm giving it a 5. Now, it's a 5 for me because it was a good movie to watch. I enjoyed it. I will watch it again, but it didn't knock my socks off. It's kind of just a mediocre, it's based on a comic book. It's all right.
It was all right. Okay.
It was all right.
I thought it was all right. I very much enjoyed the cinema experience. Could it have been better for the villain? Most certainly. Would I see a sequel if they went into that territory?
Well, they did on the original movie.
Well, that's actually quite surprising because after watching this film, I discovered that there's actually 3 sequels to the original.
I think I stopped at The Crow City of Angels,
which is the second one.
And
then there's 2 more after that.
I don't think I've even indulged in those. So.
And apparently they're terrible.
Yeah,
but they could be good. I don't know. That's why I want to watch them.
I suppose The Crow, for me, is a kind of a little bit like Spawn. They did back in the day. They did a movie about Spawn, which I actually really enjoyed. In fact, I enjoyed that more than I did Crow. But they're not really come back with that character at all, have they?
No.
So
I think there's an animated film.
The Crow's kind of a mediocre comic book character.
I mean, the thing is, it doesn't have to be the same character. It could be the same.
It's the same
supernatural force.
It's the same thing that happens.
Yeah.
When there is such a strong bond of love between 2 characters that creates this whole scenario. So it can be played out by anybody. You could reverse the roles.
Yeah.
And have a lady coming back to save her love. In fact, on that note, we did go to the cinema as a threesome because we had.
Don't say threesome.
There was 3 of us.
A group.
We went Okay, not a threesome. That would be terribly wrong. But anyway, we did have Tina with us, and Tina, I don't know, she looked at it from the lady's perspective, but she came out of there and she said that's the best movie she'd seen for ages. She gave it a 9.8, didn't she?
Wow.
And I'm wondering whether that was because maybe it was slightly tilted to that love story part of it.
Perhaps.
Or maybe it's
less on the. It was obviously on the revenge was the driving force,
Yeah.
but more on the love angle as
The love
opposed to
angle.
the original.
But she was really hit by it, and she said, "Yeah, I'm giving that a 9.8." So I don't know. People are knocking it. I think the people who are knocking it are probably the ones that have just very stuck in the rut of the original Crow.
Yeah.
Webster and her nice rock and roll boyfriend are Drake.
I was gonna rate it 6 out of 10.
6, okay.
It's probably the same kind. I don't want to judge anyone or anything, but it could be that the same kind of people who are judging Alien Romulus as being bad in comparison to Alien and Aliens
I thought
could be doing the same sort of thing with this.
Yeah, but it's always the negative things that hit the
Social media channels.
social media, and that it's like bad news travels 10 times faster than a good news.
That is very true.
It's like wildfire. Oh yeah, if you see say the Crow is really bad, the next person, have you heard the Crow's really bad? Oh, the Crow's really bad. The Crow's really bad. And actually, it's worth giving it a shot.
I would definitely give it a go if you're bored on an afternoon sometime.
Yes, that actually sounds like you kind of like saying it's not worth watching.
No, it is.
It is worth watching.
Go to the cinema, watch it.
I think
it's
Bill
fun.
Skarsgard, he plays. He's got that. I don't know what his range is like, because obviously it was he was brilliant as playing it.
Well, in the first movie.
Yeah, well, it's not his fault. The second movie was a bit meh. But this was kind of the same character, but he actually spoke as Boy versus World.
Yeah.
And although I think Boy versus World I had much more fun with than
Yeah.
Crow.
Yeah.
But he's got range. Hopefully he'll come back and do some other stuff.
Oh, he will. Of course he will.
So
there we are.
Good. So there you are. That's our review of The Crow. And after all that, I'm feeling really quite parched.
Parched, yes.
And I could do a little pep up of caffeine. So if you fancy, you can always
buy us a coffee. That'll be great. Please
Yeah.
support the channel. Find all the information you need in the description.
It's very little to ask these days.
Oh, yes.
We do it for you.
A tiny bit of help goes a long
Long
way.
way.
Thank you very much.
We bless you all.
If you enjoyed this review, please like and subscribe to this channel and comment below any suggestions of further reviews you'd like
to see. See you in the next one.